everyone, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video tutorial at Mrs. Lincoln's Inkin. Today I wanted to show you how I made this step card that I posted to my blog earlier this week. I had a few emails from people that wanted to know the directions on how I made this card, so I wanted to show you. So let's go ahead and get started. First, what you're going to need is a piece of cardstock cut at 4.5 by 11, and today I'm using the Wild Wasabi, and we need to do some cutting first on our cardstock, so I'm going to get my trimmer. Now when we're cutting our cardstock, we want to put our cardstock in at 1 inch, but we only want to cut from 1 inch to 6.5. So if you're not familiar with the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, right here on the end of our blades we have a little point, and on the arm of our trimmer we have a ruler that has all of our measurements on it, and it goes all the way to 12.5. So I'm going to put my cardstock in at 1 inch, and then I'm going to put my blade starting at 1 inch, and I'm going to slide it down all the way to 6.5. So I'm only going to cut that little strip right there to 6.5. So now I'm going to flip my cardstock over, and it's important that you flip it over and not put it in, you know, like that. You don't want to have two cuts, one at the bottom and one at the top. You want them to be right across from each other. So I'm going to flip my cardstock over, put it at the 1 inch mark, and then again put my blade at the 1 inch mark as well, and then slide it down to my 6.5 inch mark, just like that. So now when you're done, your cardstock should look like that. So now we need to do some scoring, and I'm going to get my scoreboard. And I do find that for this project, the scoreboard is easier to use than the scoring blade on our trimmer. So I'm going to put my cardstock with the 11 inch side at the top. And I want to score at 1, 2, and 6.5. But I only want to score from the top of my board right to the cut mark that I made. So I'm going to start at the top at 1 and score down to my cut line at 1. Just like that. Then at 2 and 6.5. Now I'm going to flip my cardstock over, and I'm going to do the same thing. Score at 1 from the top of my board to my cut. 2 and 6.5. Now I need to make a score mark in the center of my cardstock, and I need to make that score mark at 5.5. So I don't want to do it right here on the sides, I just want to do it in the middle. So I'm just going to lightly trace my groove at the 5.5 mark, and once I get past that cut, I'm going to press and go all the way to the other cut mark. So then we should have 2 score marks at the bottom, and then a score mark at the top, and then only 1 score mark in the center like that. Put our scoreboard away, and now we need to fold on our score marks. So we're going to fold downward at these score marks right here. Fold the top score marks inward with the bottom score marks down. And then push up. Use our bone folder and reinforce those score marks really well. And then there is the base of our step card. How cute is that? So now to decorate my step card, I'm using the DSP from the Sycamore Street set, and you need 3 strips cut at 7/8 by 4 1/4. Now on your trimmer, the 7/8 mark is going to be 2 marks right before your inch mark. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to adhere them to the sides of my step card and the bottom right here. Now I like to unfold it, and then that allows me to get my DSP panels even. And when you put these down, you're going to notice that it doesn't go all the way to the top and the bottom. You're going to have a larger gap right here at the bottom, but that's okay because when your card's folded, nobody's going to see that. So make sure that you line it up from the top of your score line because that's what people are going to see. So then line our DSP up right there. And then at the bottom. And there we go. Get it even if you can. That looks good to me. And then when we fold it back up, we have our DSP as our panels right there. So now for the center right here, I went ahead and cut a piece of Whisper White, and this is cut at 2 1/4 by 4 3/8. And your 3/8 mark on your trimmer is going to be 2 marks right before your half mark. So when we're cutting our DSP and our Whisper White, we're either cutting 2 marks right before our inch mark or 2 marks right before our half inch mark. And I'll have all of these dimensions on my blog, as well as what marks go with what. So I went ahead and stamped this flower image right here from the Just Believe stamp set, and I stamped that in the Wild Wasabi. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this to the front of my card. I love how this card allows you to showcase the main focal point of your card, because a lot of times when we decorate the insides of our card, you know, nobody gets to really see those because the cards are, you know, sitting on the table or what have you. So I really like the step card because then it's like you get the full card right when it's sitting out on your table. And it's really pretty. So there you go. There's the step card. Now to put my greeting on it, I used my Framelit label dies, and I used the smallest die, and I cut it out in the Elegant Eggplant, and then I used the greeting from the same Just Believe stamp set. So now to make a frame for my Whisper White, I'm going to take my trimmer and I'm going to cut my Elegant Eggplant one in half. So I'm going to put it in here in my trimmer, and then I'm just going to cut it in half like that. And it doesn't have to be exactly half. Oops, sorry about that. Then I'm going to take my Whisper White right here, and I'm going to put one on the top, and then I'm going to put one on the bottom. And then that's going to give me a frame for my Whisper White label. And there we go. So now I'm going to take some dimensionals and I'm going to stick this down. Make sure I get it on the right side here. Here we go. And I'm going to put it right here on my bottom flap. Just like that. And there we go. There is the step card. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Until next time, happy inkin'!